We're here today for Christopher Whelan's presentation, Organising Neurodivergent Self-Advocacy in Remote Communities. Christopher is an autistic social worker living and working in his home community of Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada. In 2013, he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice from Mount Royal University in Calgary, Alberta, and in 2017, he graduated with a Bachelor of Social Work from the University of Calgary. In July 2019, Christopher founded Neurodiversity YMM as a sharing circle and self-advocacy committee for neurodivergent self-advocates in the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo. Thank you, Christopher. It's over to you now.
Thank you for the very warm welcome. So I'll start by introducing the region that I live in. And if you look at the map, it's in this red border in the province of Alberta, and the blue dot there is the city of Fort McMurray. And we serve that whole region from that one town. So Neurodiversity YMM is centered in the city of Fort McMurray in Canada, in the province of Alberta. We gather on the traditional territory of people who came before us, the people of the Cree, the Dene, the Danezaa, and the Métis. Fort McMurray is the central hub of the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo, and our city has a population of about 66,000 people, with an additional 5,000 living in even smaller communities across the region. The closest city to us, Edmonton, is a 5-hour drive south. And here I have a more enlarged map so that more people can see this area that I'm talking about in Canada. That's a photograph of my hometown, Fort McMurray. Fort McMurray was founded as a trading fort during the days of the fur trade in Canada. European traders built a fort at the meeting of the Clearwater and the Athabasca rivers, and trappers from the Métis Nation and the First Nations would trade animal pelts for goods like blankets, cooking supplies, clothing, guns, tools, alcohol, and anything else that their communities wanted. So why do people choose to live in this very remote, very northern community? And it's because today, the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo is known as the heart of Canada's petroleum industry. The Athabasca tar sands is one of the most petroleum-rich regions in the world, and the availability of high-paying work, along with Canada's reputation as a progressive and accepting society, attracts people from all over the world to come here for opportunity. And the photograph there is 2 Caterpillar mining trucks hauling bitumen, which is tar sand filled with crude petroleum. So because there are so many opportunities for people to make a better life here, and because we are so welcoming to other cultures, Fort McMurray, while small as a community, is a very diverse and multicultural place to live. At the 2019 Multicultural Expo held in my community, dancers, performers, artists, and chefs representing 57 different cultures whom they belong to all participated in that expo. And the photograph there is our mayor and council taking photographs with many of the participants at the expo. So in addition to being diverse in terms of ethnicity, we're also a very neurodiverse community. In 2006, Neuroscience Canada reported that 1 in 3 Canadians will be affected by a brain disease, disorder, or injury. And because of the population rate of the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo, that means approximately 23,600 people in our region are neurodivergent or will become neurodivergent in their lifetime. Neurodivergent human rights in Alberta. In 2015, 49% of all cases presented to the Alberta Human Rights Commission were cases of discrimination based on mental or physical disability. In 2015, the Canadian Mental Health Journal reported that neurodivergent people in Western Canada were 3.5 times more likely to have suicidal ideation compared to neurotypical people in the same geographic region. A CBC report on the 23 people who were killed during interactions with the Edmonton Police Service since the year 2000 stated that 21 of those people had a mental illness or disability a substance abuse problem, or both. Discrimination against neurodivergent people in our region is a community health issue that is resulting in police killings and suicidal tendencies. So that creates a demand and a need for an organization like Neurodiversity YMM to educate our community about neurodivergent people, our culture, and our place within our community. So here's how I got entered into Autistic Self-Advocacy and eventually created Neurodiversity YMM. I found out that I was autistic during my own mental health episode in 2017. And I tried to learn as much as I could about autism, but a lot of the books that they had at the library were very pathologizing. They were very much about cure and treatment. They were very much about autistic children. And I didn't find many things about adults. I didn't find any things about people who wanted to accept and celebrate themselves. Then I found Neurotribes by Steve Silberman, and I learned about the world of autistic self-advocates and how we were developing our own culture that celebrated our lives instead of talking about what a tragedy autism is. I saw that this perspective had a potential to increase the community health of autistic people by showing each other and the world what valuable and important people we are. I also got a lot of help from other autistic self-advocates that I would find on Twitter and on Facebook, people like Krista Holmans and Sarah Jane Harvey, who showed me how beautiful autism can be and what it means to learn to accept who you are and celebrate who you are. And by learning to accept myself and that made me want to help other autistic people also learn to accept themselves and celebrate who they are and love themselves. So how do you start an autistic community in a remote region? The issues that I faced right away were that the models for autistic self-advocacy groups were developed in places like London and New England in the United States and Toronto, and there weren't any models for how to start a community like I wanted to in a remote region or like a smaller community. So our biggest barrier right away was how small our town was. The existing self-advocacy group, places like the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, A4A Ontario and Autistic UK, they developed organically because the regions of the world are so populated. So it's easy for people to come and meet together, whether they're autistic or not. It's not easy for people to come together in a small community because there's not many of us. So we started using social media. I went on the buy and sell page on Facebook for Fort McMurray, and I got permission from the administrators of the buy and sell page to start advertising that I was developing an autistic self-advocacy community. After 2 months of advertising, I had found 4 other people in my community who wanted to start this organization with me. Our first meeting was on July 9th, 2019. It took place in the office supplies closet of my workplace. We put chairs together in a circle and we just talked about who we are and what we wanted to see in our community as autistic self-advocates. We also said that because it had taken 2 months to get 5 people together, we really should expand our scope in some way. So we decided to field self-advocates from all neurodivergences, and that includes traumatized people, it includes people with brain injuries. Everybody who has a divergent mind would be welcome to our circle and to help us build this new community. Initially, our only program was a once-per-month circle meeting. We avoided the term support group because it sounds like we are in a grief process or trying to overcome something together, like alcoholism or the loss of a family member. We simply said Neurodiversity YMM meeting, a meeting of our members. For the first 45 minutes of each meeting, we go in a circle talking about as much or as little about ourselves as we like. Once we are finished speaking, the person to our left is given space to say what they want to say about themselves. This model is important because I've previously been in autistic self-advocate groups in Calgary and Edmonton, where discussions were not facilitated. So some people soaked up all the oxygen in the conversation, talking on and on, while other people did not get a chance to speak at all. When we facilitate our conversations, everybody gets a chance to be seen and heard. So one facilitation tool that we used was a talking stick. And this talking stick was placed in the middle of the room, and anybody who wanted to speak could pick up the stick. Once the person who was speaking at that time was finished their thought, then the person with the stick would get the chance to speak. It was implemented because people, particularly autistic people, tend to have difficulty in knowing how to interrupt a conversation to say something important. If you had something to add to what a speaker was saying, or you wanted to offer support to them, you could pick up the talking stick and have your chance to say what is in your heart. Another facilitation tool that we had was the web chat channel before COVID-19 happened and the whole world had to communicate on video chat channels. We implemented this starting last summer because we were meeting in the evening, and after a day of work, many neurodivergent people do not have the social energy to go to a meeting. They just want to stay home and relax. And the video chat channel made it possible for people to attend a meeting from a more familiar place that they were comfortable with, like their home, if they were uncomfortable meeting in an unfamiliar place. Then they could still talk to the group and engage with us. A happy side effect of having the video chat channel was that people from the outlying smaller communities and First Nations could now call into our meeting and participate this way. Now it could include neurodivergent people who could not physically access our community. We also had more engagement from multiply disabled people who could not get to our location due to physical limitations. The video chat channel helped us engage even more of our community this way. After creating our Facebook page and advertising our new organization on social media pages for neurodivergent Albertans and Canadians, we received messages of support and solidarity from other neurodiversity rights groups like Autistic United Canada and the Alberta Hummingbird Project. We would collaborate on projects with each group. The Alberta Hummingbird Project helped us to organize a demonstration against Autism Speaks Canada's discriminatory mission of cause, prevention, treatment, and cure for autism at their annual fundraiser in Edmonton in September 2019. Autistics United Canada helped direct us to a toolkit for organizing an event for the Disability Day of Mourning on March 1st, 2020, where we named and honored disabled people who were murdered by their caregivers. We have partnered with our local Autism Society of Alberta branch to help develop social programming for autistic adults and training on autism inclusion for our community. We have partnered with the Regional Inclusive Committee to organize the 2020 Disability Day of Mourning and present our efforts to prevent discrimination against disabled, neurodivergent, aging, and chronically ill people. We have partnered with our municipality's Regional Advisory Committee on Inclusion, Diversity, and Equality to help build networks to address hate-based incidences against people from minority groups in our region. Another challenge that we faced at Neurodiversity YMM was maintaining and growing our membership. The neurodivergence is highly stigmatized in our world, and we quickly ran out of people in our region who openly identify as neurodivergent. We have, however, made incredible progress in improving our membership. At our first meeting in July 2019, we made the goal of increasing our membership to 15 people in the next 12 months. In July 2020, we now have 41 members. We were able to accomplish this through extensive outreach with other nonprofit organizations who helped us market our resources to their members, and also by working with other organizations to make our region safer to be neurodivergent in. Our best tool for this is education, and I have had many meetings with organizations and the community to teach the principles of neurodiversity and neurodivergent pride.
Apologies for interrupting, Christopher. You have 5 more minutes.
Okay, almost done. One program that we do is Neurodiversity YMM, and that's with permission from authors who are neurodivergent. We read poems, articles, infographics, and books written by neurodivergent people on the topics of acceptance, pride, and health. And that way we can get a couple of messages about neurodiversity to a lot of people in our community, and especially people who are not familiar with neurodiversity. Since we were formed, we have had neurodivergent people and parents of neurodivergent people come to us and ask for help in finding acceptance and pride. And we have directed them to books written by neurodivergent people, speakers, and disability justice academics. But that's not the most efficient way to make the community more accepting. Because one, people were coming to us for help, which requires courage and social energy, so not everyone is getting the resources they want. Two, telling somebody to go read a book means that we are asking them to take on a great big project to help themselves. And three, only the people who have heard of us and who want to learn more about neurodiversity are being exposed to neurodiversity ideas. Neurodiversity Storytime was a way for us to get ideas out into the community a little bit at a time. Because in that way, one, we are the ones sending messages out into the community. It's us making that effort. Two, listening to people for a minute or two is much easier than reading a whole book. And three, we are educating people who may have never heard of neurodiversity before. I share my live stream on community pages so people who are in all levels of knowledge about neurodiversity are listening to the stream. So here's what we have learned about neurodivergent advocacy in a remote community in 1 year. One is to collaborate with as many organizations as you can, broaden your scope, and build partnerships with other disability organizations in the municipality that you live in and outside of it. Other organizations can help you secure the resources you need to put on your programs and increase your membership by spreading the word about your organization. Always think of accessibility. Always think of who is not in the room and how can you reach those people. For us, the video chat channel, the talking stick, and the facilitated conversations allowed more and more people to access our meetings that they would not normally be able to. When you are in a small community, every member counts, so make sure that everybody is getting their needs met. Be patient and set realistic goals. 15 members in 1 year was a realistic goal for a region of 71,000 people. So start there and keep pushing every month to advertise your group and build more partnerships in your community. Respect every member. Social justice groups tend to have lots of different people with lots of different ideas, and everybody is on a different level of their journey of pride and acceptance. Keep the space safe for people to say what they want to say, as long as it is something constructive, and mediate between members who have different perspectives. Make sure that everybody knows how important they are, as long as they respect the group and all the people who call it home. Share the responsibilities. Don't let yourself take on all the work. It can be hard for autistic people to do because we have a vision in our head of what something should be, and we sometimes feel upset when something isn't but what we imagined. But when you share the responsibilities with your whole team, then you've got something that represents the autistic community rather than just what you wanted to see. So that's something
Christopher,
that,
I'm afraid we're going to need to wrap things up now as we're very near to the end of the session.
Oh, I'm done. That's all right.
Thank you very much. Let me put my video on. Thank you very much for your talk, Christopher. It was really interesting. I'm looking forward to going through all the slides. Will the slides be available, by the way?
I can make the slides available to you right now.
That's cool. It was really interesting, and thank you very much.